is bound to be defective, and expression of such opinion will be wrong if not silly. This is how you should look at it. Now, please remember the information we are talking about today is most of the information is incorrect information. These are the days of memes, graphics, morphing, right? The memes, marks, and graphics tell you incorrect information. Now, how do you get the correct information? An opinion based on incorrect information or no information is bound to be defective, and expression of such an opinion would be wrong if not silly. Now, therefore, the next question is how do you get correct information? That is another bigger question, actually. Correct information is a product of good painstaking research. Please remember that all the countries that are well developed today, okay, all the countries that are well developed today are those that spend more than 2% of their gross domestic product in research. If you spend money on research, okay, you generate correct information. If your opinion is based on correct information, it will be a credible, respectable opinion. Otherwise, it will be a silly, downright opinion. Now, one who grants a thing, like we normally say, the Merchant of Venice in that Shakespearean play, the Portia, dressed like a lawyer, will go and say, all right, you can take a pound of flesh, but make sure that not a drop of blood is spilled. Actually, that's a very bad legal argument here. I'm not finding fault with Shakespeare here. He wrote something about 700 years ago and he is around even today. That means he must really be a very big fellow. I am not disputing all that. But the kind of legal argument with which Portia won her case that day, today is downright silly. One who grants a thing is presumed to grant also whatever is essential to its use. The best argument Portia could have made today in today's court is that all right, you take a pound of flesh, but make sure blood and flesh do not exceed 1 pound. That's all she can say actually. All right. Now concept of penumbral rights. This is a 1945 case. Remember, the battle between communism and capitalism was at its worst. Okay, now at least they fight in a more civilized way. They debate, right? Then there were no debates actually. The Supreme Court held that a labor leader has a right to speak to the workman and hear what they have to say without first applying for permission from the state or from the employer. Those days, I must say that the Marxists of 1950 have been idealists, not like the present day ones you see. I'm not getting into politics, but those days they used to really mobilize, the unorganized sector. The first thing they faced is organizing them. So they have to go on education camps. So what they will normally do is, when the factory shifts get over by about 5 o'clock, by about 5:10, about 100 meters away from the factory, they will call all of them and tell, what are the issues, how much money, how safe their working conditions are, and what is the level of profit made. It's a kind of organizing and educating them. So this is a very landmark decision in 1945. This decision protected the autonomy of an individual from the paternalistic governmental hegemony of ideas. This is very, very important. Hegemony is a very specific term in international law. It means a desire of any country to dominate others. Now, any country will do that actually. The idea of this decision is to protect the individual from the paternalistic governmental hegemony of ideas. This is another case 20 years later. I always say that in the battle between Marxism and capitalism, the capitalism scored the winning goal essentially because capitalism was willing to accept a lot of things of Marxism, and the Marxism was so dogmatic, they didn't pick up the best aspects of capitalism. That is why countries like China, Russia, they have got back to capitalism. Cuba is also a mildly capitalist country. The only Marxist country we have today is North Korea, which is not a great. Incidentally, if there is any place in the world where the right to information is at its worst, it is North Korea. Okay, even foreign tourists cannot take photographs. Actually, all right. Lamont was his postmaster general. I don't know how many of you nowadays go to a post office actually. I'm sure many of you would not have gone actually. Yeah, in the last 1 month at least. In the last 4 months, nobody had gone. But otherwise, as a lawyer, most of my days begin and end with the post office actually. Firstly, postman delivers a lot of communication. Secondly, we reply to all of them and try to catch that day's post itself actually. Now in the post, there is another thing called printed matter book post. And you remember earlier, nowadays only you have this courier people delivering you the week, outlook and all that actually. Older days it used to come by the book post. When you say it is a book post, you should send it in an unsealed cover actually. Okay. If you seal it, it becomes a regular post and they'll charge you money, additional money for that actually. Book post means, so here, unsealed mail from foreign countries, unless the recipient returned a reply requesting the mail to be delivered. No, what they did not take away the right. Huh? Please remember that. All what they send is, all what the Postmaster General said is, hey, you are getting material from Cuba, South America, Russia. They are all book post. Do you really intend to receive them? Until you give a declaration like this to the postmaster, the postmaster will not deliver you that mail. The court revoked the statute and held that the US give up the post office when it sees fit. You can do that. That's not a problem. You don't have to. And they said that, Post and Telegraph Department is not, what do you call, it's a business. We'll do it the way we like. That's it. But while it carries on the use of mails, is almost as much a freedom of free speech as the right to use our tongue. Justice Brennan went to the extent of saying the right to receive publications is a fundamental right. 1965 year. Of course it wasn't. Even today it is not actually. Okay. Right. You see that, and the next case is 1982. I'm just talking you a cross section of cases when it related to dissemination of information. You have information, how to communicate that information. Okay. The case involved a question as to whether the local boards, the very simple question here. Periodically, we teachers have to buy books for the library. What books must be there? What books should not be there? For example, the books that I studied in 1960s to 70, history books did not have the name of Ambedkar. Okay. History books did not have the names of E.V. Ramaswamy Nayakar. But now if you look at it, you have to put in, you have to remove a lot of things actually. For example, there are very many popular authors, okay, whose books you do not buy in the library. I had this problem even in an institution like National Law School. I asked them to buy P.G. Woodhouse for the humor. Okay. Henry Cecil, Law and Humor. John Grisham, Trial Advocacy and, specialized forms of advocacy. But my librarian said, "What, sir, you are asking me to buy novels?" Then I told him, "Look, buddy, I studied law under some of the best teachers in the country. Even then, I'll say I learned much better law from John Grisham and Henry Cecil than all my teachers put together." Mind you, I had very good teachers. So here's the issue related to the removal of books from the library, which they considered it as filthy. For example, uh, 11th standard student, an article about being a gay or being a lesbian. We don't really see such. There have been occasionally, I don't know, people from Kerala may know about Kamala Das, right? Huh? All right. Now, I don't want to get into her. Now, they said that the board has violated the rights of the student. They said, like, if a board wants to do that, they have to, what do you call, even in India, a state is repository of information. Article 14. Sender's right to communicate, recipient's right to receive. Both are as important as the other. The right to equality guarantees right against arbitrariness. Now let us get to some British cases actually. This is a funny case. UK was at war with Argentina. Soon after the occupation of the Falkland Islands, Argentina's ship Belgrano was moving away from the British warships towards the area where they will not fight the war. That's called as an exclusionary zone, where that's part of the international free waters, where all countries have a freedom of navigation. Yet the British ordered the sinking of the Argentina ship. Okay. And please remember, the sinking was followed by, the sinking was supposed to be a retaliation against the sinking of the British ship actually. Actually, that British ship was intentionally sunk by the British themselves so that they could go after this Belgrano in hot pursuit. Anyway, I don't want to now. What was important is only these things. British government, Mr. Clive Ponting, who was the Assistant Secretary to the Ministry of Defence, was in charge of drafting replies to the questions. Now, as a government servant, he had prepared a question. But the questions are in the House of the Parliament are answered by the minister, who is a political person. He prepares one set of answers as a government servant, and the minister ignores his prepared reply and goes on his own. And in the process, the MPs were misleading the Commons and they considered this unethical. So he wanted to be doubly sure that the minister speaks the truth in the House of Commons. Please remember, it's a very good intention. He sent these replies to Tam Dale, who was an MP, and he was prosecuted, number one, for breach of Section 2(1) of the Official Secrets Act, which prohibits unauthorized dissemination of official information. Two questions come here. Number one, whom did Mr. Clive Ponting give the information to? He did not give it to the enemy. He did not give it to another country. He gave the information to his own MP. Okay. Next day he will be entitled for that information when it comes on the floor of the parliament. Secondly, the section prohibits the passing of information to any person other than the person who is authorized to communicate. or to a person who has been authorized to receive it. Okay, and he said both the conditions clearly apply here. The judge indicated that the jury should convict him. See, number one, he is not authorized to communicate it. The communication has to be by the minister. Two, it must be communicated to the authorized person. The authorized person is not an MP, but the parliament. Okay. The person who is entitled for information is parliament, not just an MP in his individual capacity. The government prosecuted him, but then Clive Ponting was acquitted. And this case, in many ways, 1985, gave some kind of, we are now talking about this whistleblower protection, right? This is very important in administrative law today. The law prohibits you from telling that, but you do it essentially for the purpose of avoidance of corruption, facilitating better administration. But unfortunately, what happened, the difficulty of depending on case law is that the case will depend on who the judges are, right? Immediately thereafter, there was another civil servant, Sarah Tisdall. America had just made the cruise missiles, and these cruise missiles were those days the range was less than about 4 to 5,000 kilometers, 2,500 kilometers. Nowadays you have cruise missiles which run up to about 15,000 kilometers. So most of these missiles have to be harbored in Britain. And the British people did not like it for the simple reason their place will become the object of first attack in case there is going to be a war. So there were agitations, etc., etc. The people of the locality didn't want the missiles to be kept there. So Tara Tisdall gave her information about the arrival of American cruise missiles at a British base. And she had to go to jail, you understand? That is why people thought, and the other cases, there were a string of cases actually. And why I am saying is I am just giving you what you call an introduction to the right to information as seen in the Indian law and how the system works. This man, Peter Wright, is a M215 officer. He wrote a book, Spy Catcher. And he discredited Harold Wilson in a very big way. Government contended that the right owned a lifelong obligation of confidentiality. Mr. Wright published his book in Australia. Do you know that recently there is a ban? HarperCollins had been banned from publishing a book. Actually, Delhi riots, let me tell you, the case is under investigation. Okay. Yesterday, HarperCollins have been prohibited from publishing the book relating to Asaram Babu. Okay, you know that guy Asaram Babu? Anyway, the reason is it will prejudice a pending trial. And similarly, another book, I think it is Achyut Patwardhan. There was a movie called Black September.
Black September.
Huh? That was banned. Okay, subsequently it was released actually. Anyway, when he published these books, the British government took out an injunction in Britain. Wright published his books in Australia and USA. USA government, do you know how many of you have heard the Indian case of Lady Chatterley's lover?
Yes, sir. It was all about obscenity material.
Actually, I read that book here. You know who is this guy? It's a very famous book here. Do you know who is the author? D.H. Lawrence. I read the book because they said there is obscene material there. After reading it, I realized not even 1 or 2 pages they have wasted time and effort actually. I'll tell you, I think I was around 21, 22 years old actually. I used a lot of influence to get from Higginbotham's to get an unabridged, unedited version. I kept it in my, what do you call, library, to show that I'm carrying with me a prohibited book actually. Yeah? Anyway, I mean, it's unimportant. Anyway, it's actually a very good work. D.S. Lawrence, Lady Chatterley's Lover. Now you get and that the Indian editions removed just about 2 pages from the book actually. Now they are back. All right. Despite the best efforts of the British government, many books reached UK. Right, he has already shifted to Australia. The efforts of the British government to get him extradited to UK failed. The House of Lords vacated the injunction and prohibited anything from former intelligence officers. Now every spy man writes a book actually. Maybe it will sell. All right. And please remember how the judges said this. In a free society, the workings of the government should be open to scrutiny and criticism. So, for the first time, they started talking about transparency. And you learn transparency only when there is free flow of information. An European court also held that in the Spycatcher case, that the publication ban of Spycatcher violates the European Community obligations on free speech. Now, Cathy Massister revealed in 1985 that M15 was illegally taping the phones of public figures. It happened in India also. I don't know if you have known that Hawala cases. Advani was also there actually. Illegal tapping of phones. Ramakrishna Hegde in Karnataka had to resign. His minister, one Raghupati, had to resign, and subsequently Raghupati went out of politics. Actually, he saved Ramakrishna Hegde, right? Illegally taping the phones of the public figures, human rights activists, pressure groups. Efforts to prosecutor did not succeed. Then, this Armstrong Memorandum is what is the basis of the Indian Freedom of Information Act. Now, actually, it came about the obligations of civil servant. It's not unusual. Even we teachers, sometimes our boss asks us to do something incorrect. Okay. If you don't do it, you are not going to have a comfortable working place. If you do it, you are not going to be comfortable with your own self actually. So it's not unusual for most of us to face situations where what we consider as unlawful or unethical, and it's against you shouldn't be doing it, but your workplace environment asks you to do it. In this connection, I want you to recommend John Grisham's The Firm. Very many times, the so-called partners or people aspiring to be partners in law firm end up doing a lot of things they wouldn't have done as human. Now, what he can do? In such a case, he should report the same to a senior official or permanent head of the department. If the matter could not be resolved, even then, the civil servant has to carry out the instructions or resign from public service. A lot of people who have done it, a lot of people in India have done it, all over the world. So, what is the other duties? Duty to give full information to the parliament, legislative assemblies, not to deceive or knowingly mislead them. If you do it, it is perjury. Clinton is the biggest victim of perjury. Okay, not victim. He was a convict of perjury, but it was not a criminal contempt. It was only a civil contempt. Okay. Clinton got into all the troubles not because he had fun with an intern or anything like that. He got into all the troubles when The Senate questioned him. He lied about it under oath, actually. If he had said, yes, it was a consensual relationship between two grown-up people, why are you bothered about it? I did have it. You wouldn't have faced any problem at all. You would have probably faced some image problems. And in America, that's not a big deal, actually. Okay? We all know what kind of character Trump is. But when Clinton lied about it, he was made to pay a fine for civil contempt. 2. Duty not to use public resources for political party purposes. See, during the election time, by-election and all that, even the highway hoardings, which have a prime minister's picture, will be covered by cloth. After the election is over, the election commission will permit it even in India. So, duty not to use public resources for political party purposes. Give consideration due weight to the informed, impartial advice from civil servant. Duty to comply with law, including international law. Ensure proper, effective, efficient use of public money. Civil servants without authority should not disclose official information, but this cannot override the provisions of Freedom of Information Act. Okay, I think I will discuss with you one more case, and thereafter I will go to the Freedom of Information Act itself. I'm glad there are a good lot of women in this class. This resulted to a drug called thalidomide. Okay. Hey, you can Google it and you will find a lot of information about it. You know that a lot of pregnant women have something called morning sickness. Morning sickness is, they vomit, they, faint, and a lot of things actually, okay. Special disability arising from pregnancy. Mind you, medically pregnancy is not a disease. It is a manifestation of your reproductive health actually. It's not at all a disease, okay. Now, associated with pregnancy, some symptoms which are inconvenient to the patient come. Now, thalidomide was a drug for that. A US multinational company called Sherin Corporation, now it doesn't exist actually. Sherin came up with this. Thousands of children were born with deformities after the administration of the drug. Now, there was a case pending. Okay, that was in 1972 actually. During that time, the Sunday Times published an article where it said that if something like this had happened in United States, the company will be paying something like $1 million to each of the victims. If $1 million is to be paid to each victim, right, the company will become bankrupt. So, and they were comparing the American trial lawyers and the British justice system. British justice system, you don't have this product liability contingency fee system and all that. In America, you have it. So the article tried to project the American system punishes these kind of offenders better than the British system. Britain is easier for you to violate law and pay compensation, whereas in United States, the compensation you pay will cripple you to a great extent. Sunday Times is right. In fact, today, US has got more number of people in prison than any other country in the world. It's not because in US there are more criminals. It is because in US all the laws are implemented in its entirety. You understand what I am saying? If our Indian government implements law as well as the US government did, there will be about 20 to 30 times more people in Indian prisons today. So the article only said, hey, had this occurred in USA, Sharing Corporation would be bankrupt. All right, the Attorney General didn't like the comment, like the Supreme Court did not like the comments of Prashant Bhushan about transparency in the Justice Administration. The Attorney General, but here the Attorney General, at least in the Prashant Bhushan case, supported him. That's nice anyway. But here, the Attorney General really wanted to stop the Sunday time. An injunction was granted. House of Lords upheld the injunction on the ground the article will prejudice a fair trial. Same thing that has happened yesterday in Asaram Babu case, and something that has happened earlier, as Bhushan pointed out, Praveen Bhushan, no, Praveen Pathak pointed out, right. And it has happened in many cases, pre-publication injunction, all right. But the European Court of Human Rights held that injunction violates the right to information. After all, it compares one system with the other. Wind-scale nuclear reactor incident. Hey, look here, see, this is how in New York, there was an accident in 1957, but it was officially reported only in 1988, full 30 years after the accident took place. Just imagine the people who have been going around doing their business as usual around the nuclear power plant. So that is how they said that this is when they began this no thanks to nuclear power. Okay, countries like New Zealand say no nuclear power. But countries like France, 40% of the power comes from nuclear power because they have no known supplies of coal. Right. Now, with this major introduction, let me come to the Right to Information Act of 2005. In jurisprudence, it is very important to understand the history behind legislation. And now you have been seeing a trend all over the world, the right to information. Okay. Now this law is that. Now please remember, the Right to Information Act is available in respect of all information which is under the control of public authorities. This means I give an information to the government. That information is my information, but after I give it to the government, it is under the control of public authorities. Even that information, third parties are entitled for, except if it is a patent or an income tax assessment. Even income tax assessment are summonable actually. Okay, it's not as if nobody can take it actually. You are duty bound to give it. So all the information which is under the control of the public authorities must be made to Amar. What happened to it? Not Amar, yes, Amar. Promote transparency and accountability in the working of public authorities. Okay. Establish Central Information Commission, State Information Commission. Actually, two of my friends served as Central Information Commissioner. In fact, their contribution, they were professors and like me and no, their contribution after they became Central Information Commission, remarkable. Let me tell you, when information, a lot of commonly held mistaken notions just get exploded. Containment of corruption. Okay. No, most of the major cases that are investigated, containment of corruption. Here I always say, let us say Augusta Westland helicopter deal, Bopus deal, Rafael deal. or even recently in Pakistan, I don't know if you are aware of it, there is a general called Asim Bajwa who has put in his papers yesterday actually. The reason he was actually but he still remains the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor chairman. That's where he can make even more money. So far, he was a press advisor to the Ministry of Government headed by the Imran Khan. And his family owns a huge pizza chain. Okay. And this information, where is it coming from? Augusta Westland deal, Italy. Bofors came from a Swedish prosecutor. So, all the information, you see, all these societies are open societies. So, good information facilitates containment of corruption. Ensure optimum use of fiscal resources, efficient operation of the government, preservation of confidentiality of sensitive information. Please remember, this definition, but only one thing I want you to remember is, came into effect on 2005. And this definition is very important, what you see on the screen. Because this is the definition in Information Technology Act also, more or less the same. Information means any material in any form. It can be pictures, it can be sound, it can be videos, it can be code, it can be music, records, document, memos, email, opinion, advices, press release, circulars, orders, logbook, contract, report, papers, samples, data. Okay. And please remember the first word, information in any form, including. Underline the word including. That is very, very important for a lawyer. What is the meaning of the word including? Under the General Clauses Act, there are two kinds of legal definition. One is exhaustive definition. Second is inclusive definition. For example, in this word here, information means, that would mean something else. Information includes, which means it is information can also be other things which have been narrated in the last 7 lines. In fact, the last 7 lines narrate what is an information. The word inclusive definition conveys that it can also cover things which have not been mentioned in this expression. If they had used the word information means, that is called exhaustive definition. In that definition, they cannot go beyond and add things which have not been narrated there. So you have to understand the definition between inclusive definition and exhaustive definition. All right. Who's a public authority? Any body established by the Constitution. Only because of this, after 10 years, the Supreme Court has started putting the minutes of the Collegium of India regarding the appointment of judges actually. Before that, they were also not doing it actually. Now they do it. Why they reject it, why they appoint, despite complaints. But then many times, anyway, I don't want to go into the functioning of the Supreme Court, which of course is very important. We'll be covering it in constitutional law. Any body or institution established by the Constitution. So it will cover executive, judiciary, and parliament. A body created by any law made by the parliament or state. That means any statutory authority. or let us say Board of Cricket Control of India, Indian Hockey Federation, okay, Indian Chess Federation, Lawn Tennis Association of India, all these things may be bodies autonomous from the government, but they all receive substantial funding from the government. So if anybody receives funding from the Government of India by notification say that the Right to Information Act will apply to them also. Entity owned, controlled and substantially financed by government. This is a problem.
PM cares.
Yeah.
PM cares fund.
Yeah. This is the problem. Entity owned, controlled, HAL, BEL, ONGC, Oil India Limited, Coal. These guys are commercial organization, man. They have what you call the information is money for them because they spend money to get the information. But unfortunately, they also, so long as it is not a trade secret, even government-owned companies come under the operation of Right to Information Act. But sometimes they will say, like CIA, DRDO, these companies may not, but ISRO is still bound by what you call Right to Information Act. In fact, Nambi Narayan was able to use a lot of information from ISRO to establish his innocence. Had this act not been in place, it would have been very difficult for a person like Nambi Narayan. You know that ISRO spy case? Okay. Who would have found it extremely difficult to establish his innocence. He was subsequently awarded a crore of rupees as compensation by Pinarayi Vijayan. It's very nice because it is the Marxist government that fixed him, actually, right? They used it to their best to unseat the Karunakaran government, who was also in. Anyway, right. Now, what does it mean? The right to information includes the right of inspection of the work, document and records. Taking notes, extract, certified copies of the documents and record. For example, a dam is built here. 2 bags of cement, 4 bags of sand, 3 bags of granite jelly. But very many times what they do, instead of 2 bags, they put 1.75 bags of cement. They'll put 4.25. What is their sand? So here, under the Right to Information Act, you can take certified sample of the material. Okay. As the dam is being built, every day, each time a concrete is made, a certified sample is kept. So, correctness of the information can be verified at a later stage. Third parties. Any person other than the citizen making an information includes a public authority. Now, what are the public authorities should do? Now, all public authorities will maintain records duly catalogued. Ensure all records are appropriate to be computerized within a reasonable time. Computerize it, create a website, put it there so that anybody who wants can have access to it. And if you open any website of Government of India, you will find on the home bar RTI authorities under this is very much there. Publish the particulars of the organization, function, duties, powers, duties of the officer, employee. Procedure followed in the decision-making process. channels of supervision, accountability, complaint mechanism, norms for discharge of functions. For example, how much a stenographer types in government. Normally they say if he does 12 communications, a stenographer, he had done his job. So every month at the end of it, if he types less than 240 letters, well, he has not done the job. So you can know how many, if there are 3 clerks in the office, 3 UDC. So it is possible for you to measure and assess objectively each person's work. All right. What they do is a statement of the board, council, committee having 2 more persons constituted for advising the search authorities along with the information. Please remember, very often going to government and getting information is like what do you call searching for a needle in a haystack actually. They will open a what do you call library and say go find out for yourself where the information is. It will be impossible for you to really do that. Now here what is that they are done? How much is the budget? Now I know. The other day I was able to tell you what is the budget of the WTO. They are all transparent. It's not like the budget of CIA or FBI. We don't even have an idea how much they spent. Disbursement, information about subsidy program, details of the beneficiary. In fact, when this act came into being, it was revealed that Prince of Monaco, one of the biggest and richest man in Europe, had been receiving a lot of agricultural subsidies from European Economic Community in his capacity as a farmer. I mean, when it came to light, the press shamed him in such a way that he had to give it up actually. You understand? You know that subsidy is for farmers who suffer losses. You don't farm and you claim because I don't farm, I suffer losses and take the money. So that's not right. Okay, so what do they do? Every office should create what is known as a public information officer. This public information officer is a government servant. He works in the same office. Okay. So what he does is he will suo motu periodically give information at regular intervals. Okay. Including through internet, press release. 2. Employ local language to facilitate better disclosure to the public. Modi government has not really seen this particular provision actually. Because in Tamil Nadu nowadays, most of the government schemes, they are using the Hindi names without a Tamil translation. The guy who reads it in Tamil will not understand. The guy who knows Hindi will not know how to read Tamil. So the money that is spent on advertisement is a total waste actually. Now, the public authority will designate a person as PIO. PIO is empowered to receive application from public. The PIO is obliged to render reasonable assistance. Okay. Can also take the assistance of other people. Request for information can be made in writing through electronic means. You don't have to go there. Make an online payment. You can get it in English, Hindi or official language of the area. Along with the prescribed fee of specifying the particulars of information sought. If the information sought is not clear, the public information officer is obliged to ensure that he should help him to do that. The person seeking the information need not give. You know, this is a very, very important thing. This is a problem that the son wants money. The father wants to know for what you want it. He'll say, I want money. That's none of your business. It's the pocket money I need. That's all about it. What I spend with my money is not your business. Okay, that's always a problem. You go to a government and ask information, they'll ask, why do you want it? This is something they should not do under Section 6 of the Act, actually. Even today, many people do that, actually. Now, what will happen is, if the information the person seeks are in the control of two authorities, one part I have, the other part is with some other office. Okay. Now I ask about the dispersal of money made for downtrodden people. Some information will be available with the SC Commissioner. Some information will be available with ST Commissioner. Some information will be available with Minority Commissioner. So when I ask the Minority Commissioner, he should tell me how much he is having. He will give that information and tell me the rest of the information I have sought is not with me. You go to these people who will give you that information. And most importantly, it says that you will see, please remember, each of these public information officers have about a month time. An application is made, right? The public information officer will take a month's time to decide, actually. Now, once he decides that he doesn't have the information, you will have to communicate within 5 days of the order. All right, I told you 30 days. 8 and 9 enables him to reject the request for information. Any information that concerns the liberty of a person shall be provided within 48 hours of the request. If no reply is made within the stipulated time, it is deemed that the officer concerned had refused the request. If the fee is paid, the applicant is not enough to cover the photocopying and printing. They should send an information together with the calculation how they arrived at the payment of the fee. That means you cannot ask for a fancy sum, okay? But if you are a person belonging below the poverty line, okay, you don't have to pay it. You just have to, nowadays, the Aadhaar will tell you whether you are below a poverty line or above a poverty line, actually. Okay? Whether you have been receiving government subsidies, whether you have been having a green ration card, where you get your rations free in most of the states, actually. And now you can take it anywhere in India. Anyway, the PIO fails to comply with the provision. The information has to be given free of cost. And what is important is that he can reject it. If it is rejected, there is an internal appellate mechanism. That organization itself provides for an appellate body. If not, they can go to the State Information Commission. Okay? But this information need not be given. Information that would affect the sovereignty and integrity of India. In fact, ISRO today says we have no such thing as classified information here. Everything is open. But DRDO and Antrix Corporation, Bharat Dynamics Limited, they will have confidential information. ISRO, we look ourselves as a pure, scientist and a testing body, and none of the information in ISRO is classified information. And please remember, that's what came to light after Nambi Narayan's case, actually. I'm sure that you will have a look at the Google for the Dr. Nambi Narayan's case, actually. ISRO scandal, spy scandal. Information that would affect the sovereignty, integrity of the country need not be given. If it is lead to an incitement of an offense, for example, you will always see the news item. There was a Muharram procession. The Muharram procession went near a place of worship. There had been some skirmishes. Two groups of people have fought against each other. You don't know whether Christians and Muslims fought or Muslims or Hindus fought, or Sunnis and Shias fought, or the Gaunder and Harijans fought. You don't really know that actually. That is all right because this kind of information will lead to incitement of an offense. Gag order. Okay. I think yesterday I have sent you what you call as the legality of gag orders, right? You have sent that, right? I saw that.
Legality of gag orders.
Gag orders.
So we sent only RTI.
That, no,
Consumer
no.
protection.
That's for Constitution we have given.
Constitution yet to.
Yesterday I have sent you two blogs, okay?
Yeah.
Legality of gag order. Pramod Mahajan, Praveen Mahajan case. Please have a look at it and write to information. Definitely I expect questions from this year. At least you will get 2 or 3 questions in my opinion. Because all over the world, right to information is becoming very, very important. You know, I have discussed with you in our cyber law lectures the case of what do you call, what is his name? Assange, Chelsea, Edward Manning, all these things actually. All right. They were all subjected to gag orders. Information that can cause breach of privilege, parliament or legislature. Trade secret IPR. Something very funny happened in US. That is, a person who is in the stock market, every year he gives an income tax assessment. Okay, and he made a profit and he paid the tax. Some IT officer wanted some information from the stockbroker. Hey, when did you buy the share? For how much you bought the share? Okay, how long you kept it? He says, somebody like Buffett will say, look, buddy, that is my trade secret. Okay, how I invest. Okay, and that trade secret I will use commercially to advise others. Anyway, information available to me in a fiduciary capacity. I am a lawyer, I am a government lawyer, I get to know some information that I am not bound to give because under law of Bar Council, I cannot share it with others. Information received in confidence from foreign government. Information that would endanger the life safety of, Salman Rushdie. Okay. Whistleblower protection. Hey, there will be a question here. I definitely think that whistleblowers are very important in a democratic society. Information that will impede the process of investigation, apprehension of offenders, cabinet papers, personal information. Okay. There was a question asked in Tamil Nadu Assembly when Mr. Karunanidhi was the chief minister. One of the members asked, Madam Kanimuri is a member of the parliament today. For a long time, there were a journalist was convicted, blah, 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 in the matter. So one member in the Madras Legislative Assembly asked, what is the relationship between you and Mrs. So-and-so? To which the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, the then Chief Minister Kalaignar, reported to have said, she is the mother of my daughter. She didn't say that woman was a wife, right? Huh? Because he already had a wife living at that point of time. Okay. At the same time, he didn't tell a lie, right? He said very, very clearly that so-and-so is the mother of my daughter. Of course, they were not married and that is unimportant and I don't want to go into... And there's nothing wrong also. It has been part of Indian culture to have many wives, Indians by nature have been polygamous, okay, isn't it? All right. Even though many information may be protected under Official Secret Act, an authority can still give. If he wants to give, he can give. Okay? And he wouldn't be prosecuted like the way Clive Panding, Sarah Distel, etc., etc. information that took place 20 years ago. This is what you call as periodically, but we still, in Government of India, we have had a 1948 aggression by Pakistan, 1962 aggression by China, 1965 aggression by Pakistan, 1971 war, Bangladesh Liberation War, 1988 Kargil War, now again at Galwan. So we have had in a period of about 70 years, almost once in 10, 12 years, we have been having a
Average.
war or an armed conflict or whatever it is. But unfortunately, normal time for putting the information in public domain is 20 years. But even after about 70 years, okay, it's not given. And it would be given if it is a copyright infringement. For example, I make a computer software protection. Copyright Office asked me to give the information software program in a, hard disk. Okay. Now, somebody cannot ask it under the ground that it is with the copyright registrar. Severability. This is very important. I ask you information about A, B, and C. Okay. C is classified. A and B is not classified. That guy will have to give me A and B and say C is a classified information. If I am not satisfied, I can go on appeal, which is provided for in the institution itself, thereafter to the State Information Commission, and thereafter to the Central Information Commission. Third party information. Okay. I am having some information about X. Why want that information about X? Now, when I give that information of X to Y, before giving it to Y, I have a duty to inform X that, hey, so and so I had asked information about yourself. I am under an obligation to give it to him. So therefore, I want you to be informed of it. Information given by third parties can be validly disclosed to applicant. Nothing wrong. The affected third parties can make a representation against the disclosure. Okay. The aggrieved third party will also have a right to appeal. Fine. We have information commissioners. Now there is in fact, government has been finding it pretty difficult with the information commissioner. In fact, the information commissioner started asking questions about the Supreme Court and High Court judges. And obviously, they don't like it. So there is a lot of what I call, I think I will skip these things, information commissioner. Like you can't just sack him like that. There is a State Information Commission and a Central Information Commission. Appeals arising from the state government bodies go to State Information Commissioner, which again is appealable to the Supreme Court, and thereafter, all right, powers of the Information Commissioner appeal are most important penalties. Okay. Personal responsibility. If you refuse information which is justly due to parties, the officer will be fined 250 rupees per day. Right? And not only that, the Information Commissioner have been empowered to recommend disciplinary proceedings against the delinquent officer who systematically violates the letter and spirit of Information Technology Act. All right, I think corruption, human rights abuses cannot be exempted under Act. Satankulam tragedy, monitoring and reporting. Well, I'm done with this actually.